Hey everybody, it's Alyssa. I kind of wanted to talk today to the trans women or trans men, whichever the case may be. I kind of wanted to talk about just transitioning in general today, or tonight rather, because it's 11 o'clock. To the trans women and trans men who have not transitioned yet, or are scared to, or just haven't transitioned for whatever reason. I just wanted to tell y'all a little bit about transitioning and what I think on the subject. So, let me just start off by saying that I have felt like a female my whole life. When I was a little kid, I used to play in my mom's lipstick, my mom's nail polish. I used to play in my mom's purses and in her heels, her high heels. And I also, when I was a kid, I used to put these stocking things on my head. I used to put these stocking things like over my head and pretend I had long hair. I also, when I was a kid, used to tell people that my name was Madeline because there was a movie that came out back in the 90s called Madeline. So I'm a 90s kid, so I used to tell people my name was Madeline. That people that didn't know me, like people that already knew me, obviously knew my birth name. But anyway, then when I became a teenager, up until like 17, 18 years old, because my mom would never, my mother raised me, and my mom would never let me transition as a child because she was scared for my safety. It's not because she didn't accept me, because my mom has been my biggest supporter in my transition, like literally my biggest supporter. Like, she loves me unconditionally and supports me. But she was worried for my safety as a child, so she wouldn't let me transition as a child. Then when I became like 17 and 18, I started experimenting with makeup. I used to put on like a little bit of eyeliner, like down here, and a little bit of lipstick, and that was all. And then when I was 21, I started wearing a full face of makeup, and my hair was really short, so I started wearing wigs. And I started wearing women's clothes. And then I kind of was on again, off again through my whole transition from 2011 up until about 7 months ago. And for about the last 7 months, I've been full-time. I've been living as a woman full-time. But I wanted to say, as far as transition goes, me transitioning was one of the most happiest moments of my entire life. Like, literally. I was so exceptionally happy when I decided to finally say fuck it and fuck everybody else and transition. And I wanted to tell that to the trans men and trans women who are scared to transition or who haven't transitioned yet for whatever reason. It does take a lot of willpower and guts. It does. Like, I had to learn that the hard way, and it took me, I'm not going to lie, it was a long, long process, like, very long. I started living full-time 7 months ago, and I have just now built my confidence up and my self-esteem up to a really great level. Like, now, my self-esteem and confidence is so high that nobody can touch it. But I did not start off that way. I started off very insecure, very self-conscious, and very depressed. But I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that right when you right when you start your transition. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that that's going to be an easy time. It's not. It's not going to be an easy time. When I first started my transition, my hair was very short, like extremely short. I had not started hormones yet. I had no breast tissue. I had no, I was still very much a male. I mean, as far as being born male. I was very depressed. Like, I would look in the mirror when I first started my transition, and I would cry, and I would self-mutilate and all of that because I looked in the mirror and I seen a man. But it takes a while not to transition. It does take a while to transition, of course, but it takes a while to get yourself mentally to a place where you're happy and to where your self-esteem is good and your confidence is good. It takes a long time to get there. It takes a lot of effort. You have to push yourself. You have to get yourself just prepared for that, and you have to tell yourself every day that you can do this, and you have to keep trudging forward. And I just want to say that once you transition and once you start to see results, you really are going to be happy. Like, there's no doubt about it. Like, you will be happy. You know, some of us aren't so fortunate as those who were able to transition as a child. You know, I didn't start my transition till I was 21. And even then, I didn't start my full-time transition till I was 28. No, 27. So, you know, some of us weren't so lucky, like Jazz Jennings, to transition as a child. But I also, being 28 years old right now, I feel very fortunate and very lucky because I know trans women personally that didn't transition until they were in their 50s. I know trans women who didn't transition until they were in their 40s. And I'm just happy and feel fortunate that I was able to transition even at 28, because 28 is still very young. It's a very, very happy moment. And even though you're not happy once you start your transition, maybe you will get happy eventually. And, you know, I'm not going to lie, when I first started my transition, the full-time transition about 7 to 8 months ago, I wasn't very passable because my hair was extremely short, and, I hadn't started hormones yet, you know, so I didn't have any breast growth, and, you know, all of those things. Like, I didn't start becoming a little bit more passable till a little further along in my transition, and then the further along I got into it, the more passable I become. And like now, 8 months later, pretty much every single person in public calls me ma'am. And I have men that hold the door for me in public. And I have had men flirt with me in public, men stare at me in public. I've had women, you know, look at me and kind of like in a, you know how women are, like a jealous kind of way, like, oh, her makeup looks too pretty, I'm so jealous, or something like that, you know. They weren't looking at me like they were clocking me. They were looking at me like in a jealous, pressed kind of way, like, bitch, you're pressed, have a seat. But, you know, it does happen. You do get there, and, you know, no matter how manly or masculine you think you are, once you start your transition and you get a good ways into it, you're going to see changes, and you're going to notice results, and you're going to start, like, other people are going to start noticing that you're happier, and that other people are going to think you're more passable because you're happier. Because a lot of the reason that trans women pass so well is because they're confident. Confidence is key. And it took me also a long time to learn that. Like, I did not believe that confidence had anything to do with it. But I thought it was just all looks. But it's not. Because once my confidence got up there, and my self-esteem got up there, and I started getting comfortable in public, and I was just being myself and being happy, everybody thinks I'm a woman in public, and, you know, I blend in with the rest of the women in public. And, you know, you will get there. You really will. You will get there. And I'm still transitioning right now, even though I'm 8 months into it. I'm still transitioning now. Like, I plan on letting my hair get really long, and I plan to continue on, continuing to grow my breast as big as they'll grow from the hormones. I mean, I'm already in a B cup 8 months later. 8 months later, I'm in a B cup. So, but anyway, I just wanted to, you know, say that, and say that it is a really, really, great accomplishment when you transition for a certain amount of time. And, you know, also, like, for the trans men and women who have detransitioned, which means they transitioned and then stopped and reversed it, that is those people's personal choice. And some people do choose to detransition, but when they detransition, that means they weren't meant to transition in the first place. Because, you know, if you wanted to transition and you were happy with your transition and you were happy being a trans man or a trans woman, you wouldn't detransition. So, and that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Anyway, if you feel ever so gracious, please hit the subscribe button. You don't have to if you don't want to. I'll be fine either way. But, I hope this message reached, you know, a trans woman or a trans man that was, you know, on the fence in deciding about transitioning. And I hope you all have a great night. All right. Bye.